us about the map.
Periton Rumble is a very sneaky map. A lot of teams that like employing flanking maneuvers really enjoy it because of the buildings, the maze of buildings that you can navigate through. Lots of clouds to allow you to maneuver between them unnoticed. Or alternatively, you can try to camp one of the lanes because you can see pretty far down the map, down one of the lanes if you are being careful.
There you go. We have our ships available to us. As soon as our cameraman loads in, we will go ahead and get those loadouts underway. The first ship is the Resplendent, piloted by Kivias. It's a lumberfish. We don't see a ton of these in competitive play, but they are so much fun. Single flare and a flamer for support on that ship. And of course, the gunner on that ship, Grimmick. We also have on the other side of the red team, the Occasional Victory, piloted by Bubbles. That is a galleon on the right-hand side, Carronade Hwacha. On the left-hand side, we have a Lumberjack Hwacha, Hades, and Flamer for support. Go ahead, Oracle.
And for the DeadPool army, we have the DeadPool Airlines. Yes?
Apparently it is DeadPool army. I was messing that up.
Okay, I was confused about that.
I don't know what was going on last week where I seriously thought DPA stood for DeadPool Airlines. I don't know why.
We have the DeadPool Airlines 10.
Mark 10. He hasn't been updating that lately.
A Pyramidion being piloted by the real Deadpool. On the front, we have Hades Echidna for a pretty strong medium-range kill ship with a carronade and flare on the port. And we have the Sukma DPA, another Pyramidion being piloted by Afrayer, Gap mortar forward with carronade and mine launcher port side, just in case someone gets too close for comfort.
No engagements just yet, but both teams have formed up. Oracle, how exactly do you feel DPA is going to play this out, having seen Muse's surprise victory last week?
Well, last week we saw that Muse really enjoyed backing up. They liked playing defensively. They've taken a galleon, which is much more, I'd say, pretty well suited to that sort of defensive gameplay. That being said, we also saw Muse struggling. We saw them struggling a little bit, trying to actually play from that corner. And so I think that DPA would do pretty well for themselves, just trying to corner Muse, get them into a corner, mess with them a little bit, but play carefully, because they can. I mean, the Lumberjack, it's like, okay, whatever, we lost our balloon, we'll both just back up, we'll try again.
This is going to be a very tense match. Both these teams got surprise victories last week. Muse over the Clamor and DeadPool Army over Overwatch, of all teams. It was a week of surprises last week. And actually, talking on the post-game show at the end of last week, Imagine commented the same, that it was just absolutely insane, the amount of upsets and craziness going on. But that's what you have to expect with this high level of competitive play. You're not exactly sure what's going to happen until the shooting has stopped.
Well, this is one of the hallmarks of competitive play. Not necessarily that you see a lot of upsets, because I think that that just kind of happens sometimes. Or that you see mistakes punished. And the teams we saw lose were the teams that made the larger volume, or I guess like the larger number of bad mistakes, like really bad mistakes, and they got punished for it. I mean, we saw the Musosaurs punish, what was it, the Clamor?
The Clamor, yes.
Over again. Every time the Clamor made a mistake.
The Clamor did make quite a few mistakes. Well, I couldn't say quite a few, but they made some very critical mistakes.
I'd say quite a few critical mistakes. And they got
there were
it's that simple.
There were chem spray issues going on with the chem spray rotation. There were issues with their firing arcs, not using every firing arc they had available. There were issues with their flight paths going on. And I hope that the Clamor really has corrected that. Now, the rumor has it, rumor and scuttlebutt time, folks, Frogger of all people has rejoined the competitive scene on the Clamor as a consultant and last minute fill in if needed.
Oh my.
So I mean, that could signal a major turnaround in this tournament for the Clamor, having already lost 2 matches. So, we'll see. That's going to be fun to see the Clamor kind of pull things around here.
Yeah, the Clamor has quite a few newer players. I guess like it might, some of it might just be a comfort issue.
It might be the Clamor.
They don't have good habits yet.
As far as I know, the Clamor is the Ducks' newest team after the Waddling was formed quite a few months back, actually.
Yeah, they are the newest team. The Waddling was practicing before the Clamor even existed. So I'm gonna have to agree with that. I'm pretty sure you're correct.
Looking over chat there, actually, Imagine, who is over in Imagine 42 in chat, guys. He normally broadcasts the second stream, the Anvil division, along with us. We do the Hammer division. This week he's in MLG. I'm so jealous of him. Incredibly jealous of him right now. He's enjoying MLG, but he's taking time out to enjoy our stream. So appreciate you being here, Imagine. We miss you, buddy. We'll see you next week. Back to the game. A scant few shots have been fired, specifically long-range lumberjacks, and a couple of attempts with Artemis and Hwachas, but nothing's really landed yet at all. Both teams are really trying to figure each other out and just test the waters. Long-range shots, Hades, Artemis, gently being flung in each other's direction. The Resplendent's taking a little bit of fire, as is the Deadpool Airlines. Lumberjacks just landing once or twice on it, given some hull and balloon damage, some armor and balloon damage, rather. This is... this is going to be a very tense match. I think both teams realize this is going to be the litmus test for them to see if they can hold up in the competitive scene to keep getting victories, or if their previous wins were just one-offs.
Yeah, this is going to be a really deciding match. I think this is going to decide. I think this match will decide like whether these teams either get into the gold bracket or end up in silver, or at least to even have a chance. Whoever loses this match is pretty much condemned to the silver bracket. And so we see both teams playing carefully. I mean, you look on the DPA side of things, it's really scary to try and approach between the buildings, because that's kind of what you want to do right now. These Pyramidians really want to try to close distance on the Galleon and the Goldfish. I mean, the Carronade Watcher side on the Galleon is scary, but I mean, you get close enough, and as long as you keep chem spray rotations, this Goldfish isn't going to be too scary once you close distance. But the problem is getting there in the first place, because if they try to go low in between the buildings, Lumberjack's going to spot them. You see, like, these ships are keeping a pretty good eye on one another. They're using flares. The Resplendent is throwing out flares to make sure they can't approach. Now, they're being very wary. They notice that, Suck My DPA, good lord, that name. The Suck My DPA is MIA. And so they're saying, you know what? He probably flanked off to our left. We're going to play careful. But he hasn't. He's actually just hung out where he is.
It's a reasonable play to assume he's flanking, even though he's just sitting below waiting to ambush.
Yeah. And so right now, it's really hard for either team to do much, because it's Parrots and Rumble. It's hard. The occasional victory doesn't have anything for kill. It doesn't have, like, a Merc flag. I'm a big fan of the Merc flag, personally. But they don't have any sort of kill.
Well, you're one of the folks that feels the Merc needs to see more play, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the Merc, in combination with a lot of other guns, like
Suck My DPA just got spotted. The Muse team knows where they are, and they realize they did not flank.
I think that they saw them a little bit earlier. Just now they have gun arcs. The Resplendent, though, taking a bit of an aggressive position, throwing the DPA down.
Well, I got a quick comment from Kivias of the Muse team on how he likes to pilot his Goldfish, and exactly how he felt with that game against the Clamor. He said he felt extremely comfortable flying an aggressive Goldfish. It's a wonderfully sturdy ship considering its agility. It should be used aggressively in his opinion, and he really enjoys how it's playing right now. Also, he gave amazing amount of credit to Zemco, who was on the Lumberjack in that last game. Deadpool Airlines balloon going down as we finish this up here real quick. He gave immense amounts of credit to Zemco specifically. He felt Zemco was a major part of that win.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not confident in your gunner, you're going to have trouble doing anything. So the Deadpool Airlines 10, putting himself in a dangerous spot. Hades coming in. We've seen our first bit of hull damage. It's not much. Deadpool Airlines dropping down low. Now, this is where the Deadpool army did not want to be. You see he's coming in low, and the clouds are there, but it doesn't matter because the Resplendent has done a good job keeping that flare. And I think it was him keeping the flare in the clouds. Now, Deadpool Airlines still spotted. Flare wears out, but DPA still firing off Hades.
Great chem spray on the Resplendent, keeping exactly what they need chem sprayed very consistently, keeping the Lumberjack chem sprayed as well as the balloon. No, the balloon did lose its chem spray. That's going to hurt them. Armor,
it's okay.
Hurting just a little bit on the Resplendent. Yeah, they do. By the way, in Barrett from the Ducks confirming in chat that the Clamor has no plans to use Frogger in games. Again, just a consulting role, but it definitely means Frogger is going to have more effect on the team, which is something I'm looking forward to. Frogger, in my opinion, is an amazing pilot. He can keep calm under almost any kind of pressure, so I'd like to see that rub off a little bit on the Clamor.
Yeah, the Clamor, I feel like panicked a little. They can. I feel like a lot of these teams can panic though. Like that's not confined to the Clamor.
Yeah, to a certain extent, that is an experience issue with them. At least in my opinion.
Right now, DPA doing a decent job. I mean, I was really worried about the Deadpool Airlines 10 for a minute there, but they managed to back up. I feel like the Musosaurus could have been a bit more aggressive with that Galleon, moving forward. Get that Lumberjack firing in along with the Resplendence. Double Lumberjack going to keep the Pyramidion bouncing.
I get what you're saying, but I also think the Muse team is trying to aggravate DPA enough to the point where they come at the Galleon. At that point, they have them dead to rights. If the Deadpool army charges that Galleon, especially in these confined regions, especially between buildings, that Lumberjack, the double Lumberjack between the Goldfish and the Occasional Victory, is going to ground them.
Yeah, it's right now the Musosaurs are just hoping for the Deadpool army to just move forward and try and engage.
There is a question in chat. Where's the Art of War match? Art of War match will be after this one. Holy Roman Army versus the Art of War will be in just about, if my time is correct, a half hour from now. So no worries. We will have the Art of War match on in about a half hour, guys. That is when it's scheduled for. The schedule got changed up just a little bit this week because of the lack of a second stream and because one of the teams needing to take a step out this week.
Yep. Fortunately, we were able to accommodate it. This is kind of week 4 and week 5 are sort of our break weeks. We're taking a minute.
Yeah.
Taking a breather. And
week 5 is going to be less of a break week because one of the matches did get pushed back to next week. I do believe.
Watcher comes out and the Deadpool Airlines taking quite a bit of fire. Balloon down. And this, okay, no, he's not on top of the building. If he was on top of the building, that would have been one of the greatest sins that you can commit.
Oh, yeah.
Ferritin Rumble. But no, DPA not going to let that happen. That's just a little thing you can do, making sure you're not on top of any buildings in Ferritin. One thing you can do that can absolutely save lives.
As dangerous as it is to use some of these building canyons on this map, it's even more dangerous to ground out spiked on top of a building or rested and stuck inside the top of the building, because at that point it's a shooting gallery. You will get torn apart. You're going to get a kill on your team, and unfortunately that's the kind of activities that lose games.
Both of these teams are playing very carefully though. I'm rather impressed. Like both of them being pretty careful. See, Deadpool Airlines not even taking the risk. Pops up. Lumberjack is going to take
Oh my good. Nope, that watch misses entirely.
That's okay. That's okay. Right now they're at, like, these teams are at the ranges where they can play defensively. If something goes wrong, they can back up. Really, they're just taking pot shots. See, the Deadpool Airlines loses its balloon. Its armor gets hit, but it can just drop back down behind the building.
It's happy to sit. Yep, it's happy.
Yeah, the Deadpool army, right? I feel like the onus is on the Deadpool army right now. They need to make a good play happen. I think that right now the Musosaurs are particularly vulnerable to a flank because let's say a Pyramidion comes in from one side. Okay, Goldfish focuses that one, exposes its very vulnerable broadside to the other Pyramidion. Bam, there's a kill. galleon going to take a minute to try and turn and get arc. Like, that's going to take a minute. So you're going to have a few seconds where the galleon is turning. Then it has to slow itself down so that its guns will actually land. And then, like, I feel like DPA definitely has an opportunity here, but I feel like they're not taking it.
Great. I'm just going to say this right now. Great if a little conservative piloting from Bubbles so far. Normally, he can be exceptionally aggressive, which is usually his downfall. I say that as he bumps into a building. But he's done a great job of holding back when he needs to and really showing some restraint and care in when and where he fights.
I definitely feel like right now the Musosaurus could have taken a build that would have pressured DeadPool Army.
Oh, great hit on the DeadPool Airlines. My goodness.
More hull damage going down. He's coming out. Nothing else going to be there. See, the longer that the DeadPool Army waits around like this, the more they're going to get chipped away, just because the long-range power is 100% in favor of the Musosaurus. 15 minutes left. Hull damage on the airlines. Right now, I feel like they just need to approach, or they are going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, the longer that Suck My DPA just sits around doing nothing, the more chip damage is going to be placed on the DeadPool Airlines, and the worse of a position that first engagement is going to be for DPA.
Yeah, you see what's going on. Like, the DeadPool Airlines is a Pyramidion. In order for it to fire, it has to be facing towards its opponent. However, that also means that it's going to be very difficult for them to back up behind cover because, they're not using a broadside, then they can't back up between in and out of cover. They can only do it vertically. Pyramidion's vertical mobility ain't that great. Takes a lumberjack hit. It's going to be even slower. Like, see, right now, it's trying to fire Hades and Echidna, but it's leaving itself extremely open to lumberjack fire and watch fire.
Yeah, they just lost their balloon once. They're still taking fire from that lumberjack. Great arcs from the Resplendent. They could lose their balloon again.
Not a big deal. Right now, Musosaur is content to just play defense. They just aren't feeling any pressure. I think the DeadPool Army right now is definitely feeling it, though.
It looks like, to me, it definitely looks like the Muse team is going for a timeout win instead of a domination win, where they're not going for the full 5 kills, looking for 1 or 2 kills, play excessively defensive, make sure DPA cannot get close, and use the end of the match to win.
Well, right now, I need to check the rules again. Isn't it that if one team has hull damage, the other doesn't? That's victory?
I'm not sure if neither team has points. I think it's called a draw.
I think that may be an untruth. I'm going to go check the rules.
We'll see. Again, though, if just 1 or 2 kills will earn you a victory over a team, you don't have to get the full 5. We saw that in Cake versus Sacrilege a couple weeks ago, where they got a 2-1 victory over them. DeadPool Airlines taking just a little bit of fire again. Not any chip damage landing on that permahull. They're in a pretty decent situation. Resplendent is absorbing fire, but Watcher Burst comes out, partially blocked by the building. Occasional Victory does not have a decent arc. That building is blocking their shots. They need to raise up slightly so they don't have to fire through those holes in the structure to get those consistent hits. But DPA is starting to... DeadPool Airlines is starting to take some damage, lose their balloon again. They're going to sink back down into safety. Any word on the rules there?
I'm looking them up right now. There are a lot of rules to this, and it's
well, here,
good.
there are a lot. Let's let the because I know Alistair McBain is in our chat. Alistair, if you could let us know what the rules are on a 0-0 end time.
Here we go. Oh, never mind. This is
let's let Alistair deal with it. We should focus on the game here. Sure. Alistair, could you let us know what happens when a 0-0 happens, when ships have permahull damage versus ships that don't have permahull damage?
I feel like there's been enough. There's certainly been enough action in this game. It's not okay. Just a tie. That's what they're saying.
Just okay. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
And I can understand the Musosaurus kind of feeling on this. Like right now, they're just like, you know what? We have a defensive build. we don't want to get too aggressive. If we get a draw, fine. I feel like the DeadPool army, right? Like that team just kind of has an advantage over the Musosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think skill wise, and I think the Musosaurs are a little bit afraid of them, so they're saying, "No, what? Nah, like we're just gonna let this time out." And then again, I mean, they have no real incentive to get aggressive. I think the DeadPool army does, though. I think that they could turn this into a victory if they move, if they actually move in, if they try to get a good flanking maneuver. But it looks like they're just not comfortable enough doing so. You see, they're hanging really close. They haven't split up once. They've had like a building between the two of them. That's the most distance they've had. Like this is the farthest they've been away from each other, really.
Is Suck My DPA spotted with that flare?
I don't think so. No, he's not.
No, he could be, but he hasn't been yet. Trying to get a good arc. Technically he is, but it'd be almost impossible to actually get a spot on him.
Mm-hmm. This might be a 0-0 draw, Dan. Like, I don't see it changing at all. We got 10 minutes.
I don't
DPA,
think
knowing
how DeadPool functions, he will not let that happen. He will change his strategy to try and reflect what the enemy is doing. If time forces him to, he will do it.
Well, in the words of the ever-famous song, "Something's got to give. Let the bodies hit the floor."
Oh, God. DeadPool Airlines getting a solid flank on them by the Resplendent. They're going to lose altitude once again, but I don't think it's going to save them this time. Nope. They have broken arcs, except they're pushing forward. It looks like DeadPool Airlines and Suck My DPA are pushing forward. They're going to try and engage the Resplendent as best they can. Resplendent, meanwhile, is just sailing right into this.
There's the spot.
This is going to be very tough for the Resplendent to deal with. Occasional Victory is not in a good position just yet. They're swinging still, trying to get their guns in arc.
This right now, I think, is when Hephaestus is at his weakest. He's being chased down, and he's desperately trying to backpedal. He doesn't always look behind him. He's doing okay, though. He's dodging the buildings, but the Hades are coming in. Suck My DPA is hanging out low. There is hydrogen on that ship, so he could pop up. Occasional Victory hanging out here. Now, the Musosaurs are at a range that they are definitely not comfortable. They let their guard down for just a minute. Now, the Suck My DPA, right now, the Musosaurs do not know where it is. It's hanging out behind this building. It has hard cover. It's going to back up, though. And I think the Occasional Victory is going to get the spot.
They more than likely are going to have first spot on it between these two buildings. Yep, the spot, the soft spot. I'm going to call that a soft spot, was down. They did see them. Pressure being put on Suck My DPA and DeadPool Airlines. Suck My DPA, if they don't change how they're positioned, they're going to get locked into that bridge area, which is not going to be fun. There's the bounce. Suck My DPA is going to have to reposition just a little bit, but no pressure from the Occasional Victory, just the Resplendent pushing them with that lumberjack.
6 minutes left on the timer right now. I feel like DeadPool Army kind of wasted a golden opportunity. The DPA was in very low. It was unspotted. I'm pretty sure the Musosaurs did not know where it was. They could have gotten in a little bit closer, used the Hydro to bounce up and hit the Resplendent from the side, but they just didn't. I think that was a wasted opportunity that they just kind of left lying on the ground.
Occasional Victory is pushing forward. Suck My DPA spotted. Occasional Victory has not been spotted just yet. They're going to be able to provide some critical support for the Resplendent. Both teams are right next to each other, but they just have this large structure in the way that's blocking arcs.
Yeah, they're okay. Now, the DeadPool Army is a little bit afraid to move out here. They're pinned. Like, they had their opportunity. They closed distance, and now the Musosaurs have the DeadPool Army at not quite as comfortable of a distance as it was, but I think that the positioning is definitely in the Musosaurs' favor if we're talking about, them wanting to get a draw at least. Yeah, look at that. There's a huge lane here. Actually, this is very dangerous for the DeadPool Army. The Suck My DPA hanging out a little bit too far forward. You see there's absolutely no cover for it to run to. And if it bottoms out, I think that the Musosaurs might be able to get this
It
kill.
did bottom out. It just tapped once. Balloon is back up, though.
One more lumberjack hit. One more lumberjack hit. It's
It
not
was-
there.
Lumberjack sling. There we go.
One more.
Oh, boy.
One more. No. Those lumberjacks needed to hit if they wanted that kill.
Big
And
missed
it's gonna get
opportunity.
away.
Big missed opportunity for the Musosaurs. They had the Suck My DPA dead to rights, but they could not make those shots land. They had a little bit of a problem, I think, figuring out exactly which way the Suck My DPA was bouncing. I think they thought it bounced forward instead of back. Good watcher burst on the DeadPool Airlines.
Lumberjack comes out. I think.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, no. You got to back up, man. You got to back up. Okay. Just barely going to.
Great
keep
flare.
himself.
Completely lights up the entirety of DeadPool Army. Both ships get... I can only imagine the ships on the Suck My DPA and the DeadPool Airlines just got blinded by those flares. Those are really bright.
5 minutes left. 5 minutes left. DPA just going to back around these buildings. We see, oh my goodness, Musosaurs are getting aggressive. Resplendent going very far ahead of the occasional victory. And it's going to need a little bit of Hades fire, but it's going to get the balloon pop on the DeadPool Airlines, no problem.
That's not a big deal. Suck My DPA is... Are they running away?
I think so.
away.
Yeah, Suck My DPA needs to actually do something right now. I mean, the DeadPool Airlines, they can turn. Their engines are not buffed. No wonder they look so sluggish. They have no buff. Do they have a buff kit on that ship?
On
don't.
the Suck My
No.
DPA?
No, the DeadPool Airlines, they have no buff.
They don't
They
have
have
buff
no
kits
buff
on
kit.
any of their ships.
Goodness gracious.
They have
is
no buff
making
kits
them-
at all.
I think that explains the lack of aggression. They don't have the buffs on their engines to make the sort of plays that they need to right now.
DeadPool Airlines is in an immense amount of trouble. It's caught between these buildings here. It doesn't have a ton of places to retreat to, although it is trying to get back behind some for a little bit of cover. If Resplendent and Occasional Victory push forward, though, they're going to have some really good shots on them.
What? I just took it for granted. There is no buff kit
On
in this
either
whole
of
game.
those ships.
In this whole
What?
game, not a single buff kit.
That's
No
ridiculous.
wonder. No, that explains it. This is why these teams cannot get aggressive on one another. They can't buff their engines. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Looks like we're gonna. Yep, 3 minutes. 3 minutes left on the timer. Looks like, and I mean, with that kind of revelation, I feel very silly for not going, hey, why aren't more components glowing yellow? But I mean, I don't see either team really able to do anything.
That's
Without the
a
buff
very
kit.
good point. This is just... I feel like the Muse team has been... Oh dear, Resplendent might be in trouble here.
They're popping out. Suck My DPA doesn't quite have the arcs. Oh, there we go. Gatling fire going out, but out of
They're not
range.
hitting. They're not close
Gonna be
enough.
Okay.
Oh dear.
I think.
Resplendent is hightailing it. They
Yeah,
are
they got
out of hair
moonshine.
like a bald man.
Yeah, they got moonshine. They're gonna be fine. DPA, the Suck My DPA, not fine. God damn. No, they're not gonna follow. 2 minutes remaining. DeadPool Airlines gonna get the spot. But
I feel
Resplendent
like-
is just, it's just trying to get a good position, but no, it's not gonna body block. Not quite. Watcher comes out quite nicely.
Ooh. Yeah, great shots on the DeadPool Airlines. Balloon goes down again. They are starting
Ooh,
to take some
Resplendent, though.
damage.
Resplendent in a fair bit of trouble. Armor went down. Gatling being laid down. A lot of it going to go into the gun.
Uh-oh.
Armor's down though, and yep, here is Kivias's weak
Bounce!
point when he tries to backpedal. If he's backpedaling, he's in trouble. Suck My DPA laying down more Gatling fire. Broadside showing a little bit, slightly easier to hit, but he's gonna be okay. A little bit of hull damage, but he's gonna hit another building. Kivias, this is the big weakness of Kivias. This happens every time he tries to backpedal.
Resplendent is struggling to get out of this situation. Hull is being battered. I do believe everyone's on full repairs. They do believe they've also lost some engine power there. Armor goes down. Engines are all gone on the Resplendent. It's a sitting duck. It has nothing
more.
left.
No engines. Gatling taking out those engines. Very little hull left. It managed to get away. Deadpool Airlines has a golden opportunity here. How many times can I use the cliche golden opportunity?
As many as you like.
Backing away. Kivias gonna bounce on a building. What are you doing, Kivias? 3 Rams is not something that you can afford. Deadpool Army punishing Kivias for his mistakes. 30 seconds left. Great T saying GG. 14 seconds.
That's a tough. This is going to be a tough loss for the Muse team. They played so well throughout the entire game, but just a little bit of pressure where they didn't want it. Mistakes happened, and unfortunately for the Muse team, DPA was able to capitalize expertly on just a few minor mistakes that happened.
I'd say backing up into a building twice and then dropping yourself onto a third one. Those aren't minor mistakes.
No, you want to call those major?
Huge mistakes.
You may want to look behind.
Dear God. Like throw your arm over the seat and look behind you when you are in reverse. Dear God, man.
DPA is going to go ahead and move on and get the victory. They're going to go 2-2. Muse is going to drop to 1-3 in the standings. This is we are unfortunately not able to air at the normal time slot our interview for the week. We're going to do that after the second game of the week. So, with that being said, do not go anywhere, folks. Thank you for tuning in to twitch.tv/The Rob and Dan Show and robanddan.tv/live for the Hephaestus Challenge. We're going to be right back after this short timeout, this short break. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Hephaestus Challenge on twitch.tv/The Rob and Dan Show.